I've lived 1,000 lives. I've piloted 1,000 souls. I've killed and fought and died just for another role.
This is the Happy Jacks RPG podcast, a roundtable discussion that's a mix of friendship, humor, unbridled enthusiasm, and tabletop RPG topics sent in from around the world.
Just for another
Hello!
Hi.
Hello.
And welcome to Season 36, Episode 15 of the Happy Jacks RPG podcast. My name is Kimmy.
I'm Pooja.
I'm Adam.
And I'm Courtney.
In today's episode, Gurg Murg asks how GM prep changes depending on campaign length. Carlos Salazar on the Discord asks, is prep actually death? And from the archive 2021, Shawn from just outside Washington, D.C. has some combat and XP questions. If you'd like to contribute a question or topic to the show, you can email us at happyjacksrpg@gmail.com. That's happyjacksrpg@gmail.com. Or you can post in the mailbag channel of the Discord.
When you read that, I have not pre-read any of these letters. All I got in my mind was a vision of that meme from anime of the guy and there's a butterfly and he's like, "Is this?"
Okay. Yes.
And the butterfly is labeled prep. Is this actually death?
Perfect. Amazing.
I love that meme. Right? Yes.
All right. Announcements. Our next game days is January 17th and 18th. There's already a bunch of games listed. I think there's 8 sessions already posted
Nice.
with firebrands and a playtest, and I think Delta Green and some other ones. So go check out happyjacks.org/discord if you want to participate. It's free, it's safe, there's safety tools required, and there's a lot of variety, as you can tell already. So it's lots of fun. Also, over the last month or few months, our actual ranking on Apple Podcasts has dropped. We're actually not ranked right now. Part of this is sort of normal, and it's happening to a lot of podcasts because the audience is diversifying. It used to be, back in the day, everybody listened on Apple Podcasts. Now people are listening on Spotify, people are listening through YouTube, people are watching us on Twitch or on YouTube. So there's a lot of different ways that people are consuming the show. So I don't actually think our audience numbers have dropped. I think they've just spread out a bit.
Mm-hmm.
But if you'd like to help, it would be amazing. Wherever you're watching or listening to the show, if you could subscribe or like or rate or leave a comment or leave a review, please do that. Please do that, especially because looking on a lot of the podcast platforms specifically, our reviews are kind of old. Most of them are from 2022 and stuff like that. So if you wanted to update a review you've left in the past, or if you want to leave one if you haven't left one previously, that would be amazing. No matter what platform you're using, it'd just be a big help. And big props to the people who are watching on YouTube. There's a couple people who are really, really great about always liking and then commenting. Even if it's just hey, I really love this. It really helps the algorithm. So much content stuff is driven by algorithms now, even on podcast apps and things like that. So just all your interaction with our content, other than just watching it, because that also is great, but any interaction you have really, really helps and can help other people find it. And also just your recommendations. If someone's hey, I'm really bored this holiday season, well, I happen to know a great show or whatever that you could listen to. But yeah, if you want to just help us out a little bit that way, that would be fantastic. Thank you.
Like, comment, subscribe, and smash that bell.
Yeah. Oh, man.
As a social media professional, I can verify all of that is true.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sad, but it is
Yeah.
true that engagement with the content is what drives the algorithm rather than just watch numbers or anything like that. You have to have people who are commenting and sharing and all of that.
Yeah. It's important. It's hard. I'm sorry to ask labor from you, but please do it.
Yes.
So much. Yeah.
Love you.
Yeah, we love
Yeah.
you. Please.
So mean.
Please do the thing. All right. I always feel it's so funny because once in a while, with my students, they're all obsessed with social media and YouTube and all these things. And they're just yeah, like and subscribe. And then every once in a while, I'll be finishing a lesson. I'll be like and subscribe. And then I'm I probably should say this more to people who are actually watching my shows and not like first graders. I don't say that out loud to them because I don't want them finding me. But like, I'm
Right.
always like, I should probably say this more often in like actual my content that I make. All right, indie designer of the month. This is the last week, right? Yeah, last week.
Yes.
That Jess Pedley is our indie designer of the month. She, her. She is the co-founder of Underground Oracle Publishing, Playtested Presents, and the TTRPG Rising Tide community, which is amazing. I love them. Fantastic. And this week we are talking, you can find her stuff at undergroundoracle.com or by searching Underground Oracle on DriveThruRPG. Today's product is Cypher Shorts. Now they have a ton of these. Like they have so many different ones. So I just picked the one that I was like, oh, that one looks like it drew my eye first on their page of like a dozen or more of these. So the one I chose for this week is Cypher Shorts Dark Super Shorts Volume 1. And these are settings and adventure stuff so you can run things in the Cypher system really easily. This one has, this is a new occult and paranormal adventures for your superhero games, which is what I just said, but this is better because it was what she actually wrote.
Official copy.
Yeah, official copy. Cypher Shorts are, here we go. I should just read the thing. Cypher Shorts are a supplement for a Cypher system and require the Underground Oracle Publishing setting, the free Cypher System Rules Primer, or the Cypher System Rulebook to play. This one includes various things. 1. A darkened light. The characters are part of an occult and supernatural underworld who have been brought together to stop a fallen angel from opening a gate to a dark dimension. Can they outmaneuver the sinister powers protecting her before she cracks the door to the end of days? 2. Doom is the cost of power. Years ago, the characters each made a deal that made them the most powerful heroes on Earth. All that was required in exchange for their power was a favor that could be called in due, and it would be due sometime in the future. There we go. I can read.
Got it.
Now I got it. Got there eventually. Now it's time to pay their tab, and they could spell the end of the world as they traded their souls to protect. And then 3, the far side of town. The characters are a team of outsiders who have been called in to deal with Reverie, a power who has trapped a psychiatric hospital in her dreamscape. Can they get her to release her psychic hold, or they find themselves lost in the psychedelic recesses of her subconscious too? So those are all 3 different things that are included in this one product. And then the Cypher Short guidelines, they're simplified rules for you to run Cypher Shorts. And this is available for $5.99 on undergroundoracle.com. And like I said, there's like,
Nice.
yeah, it's super great.
Yeah.
They're beautiful, and there's also like a bunch of them. There's like a post-apocalyptic and like sci-fi and fantasy. So there's a bunch of different ones. Whatever flavor you're looking for to run your game, they have a Cypher Short for it.
Nice.
Very nice.
Very nice. So, coming next show, new indie designer of the month.
Nice.
Yeah, we'll find out next time. All right. I've been talking a whole bunch. Mailbag number 1. Who would like to read it?
Ooh, teacher,
Okay.
pick me.
Courtney!
I'm the teacher's pet who wants to go first. Also, I looked through and this is the
I
shortest
was about
one.
to say, did you pick the shortest one on purpose?
Maybe.
Impressive and
Maybe.
tactical. Well done.
Yeah.
Thank you. I am a Slytherin. All right. A missive on preparing campaigns of varying lengths. Ahoy, Kimmy and the Happy Jacks crew. Yar. How does your preparation for campaigns change based on expected duration? Say 3 to 4 shot versus 12 to 16 sessions versus open-ended and long-running. What are the biggest pitfalls or traps to avoid when preparing campaigns of different lengths? What do you like to do for a campaign of one length that you don't do for another? Do your game prep tools change based on the duration of your campaign? Thank you, Gurg Murg. P.S. Traditional P.S.
Absolutely.
I don't get it. Also, I've never GM'd anything more than a one-shot in my life, so hold on, you guys.
I do want to just pause for a second. I realize a lot of people use terms from the wizard thing. I love you, Courtney, but fuck J.K. Rowling. So okay,
Oh yeah.
now we can move on.
I don't get the reference.
That's okay.
Oh,
Okay. Explain it to me after the show.
yeah.
For sure.
Okay.
Okay, so how does your prep change versus a 3 to 4 shot versus a 12 to 16 shot sessions? and then open-ended and long-running.
Ooh.
I mean, I can talk about like a 1 to 2 versus a 10 to 12.
Right?
Go for it.
Yeah.
Basically for a one-shot, well, especially if you have like a 1-session one-shot, I feel like your prep is very different than when you're prepping for a campaign.
Yeah.
That even like a 2 to 3, 3 to 4, that kind of length, you want things to be interesting enough for the characters to know that they could go in a bunch of different directions if they wanted to, but then also have a bunch of avenues leading you to conclusions within a reasonable time frame. Because like that's the biggest thing on shorter games is that balance of like not railroading your players,
Yeah.
but also knowing you need to have a conclusion
Yeah. Yeah.
that is viable and satisfying.
Yeah.
And funnily enough, like the last time I did this, like I ran 2 sessions of Pinnacles that were like their own mini one-shot because Jason bullied me into it.
Jason.
He does that.
Yeah. I had a lot of fun. It was great. And was working, so I made Jason help me prep. The biggest thing was, for me, is always like coming up with those different avenues and making sure that like, and then also in Wild Talents, figuring out how combats worked, which even we had been playing for almost a year at that point. I still didn't understand how he made it. I was like, how does this happen? How does this work for enemies?
It is a strange secret code that only Jason and Kimmy understand. I don't, like, if you don't have a Jason or a Kimmy to play Wild Talents with, I'm not sure how one plays that game. It's great once Jason or Kimmy makes your character for you.
Exactly. The spreadsheet that Jason made for it made it make character generation a lot more sense. But like in terms of tuning encounters and all of that stuff, like very confusing. Yeah. But then for longer campaigns, like your what I think of as your mid-length, I guess, is that weirdly enough, it's like less prep. Do less prep. Because that way you can just run with whatever your players end up doing. Like have prep for a session, but not for like the whole. Like I wouldn't start with your end game in mind for like a 10 to 12 session game.
Yeah.
Versus like when you're in a much shorter run, you want to have your end game in mind, but in your longer ones, like see where the players are going with it.
Yeah.
See what's interesting.
Yeah, like I usually have some sort of vague idea of the direction we're heading.
Yes.
Like if it was a road, okay, I was going to use a road trip, but now this is going to sound like road to nowhere, but it's not. I was like, if it was a road trip, it would be like, yeah, we're heading to, New York.
Yeah.
We'll get there. We have a map. We'll figure out how we get there.
Yeah.
Like, it's sort of like that. So you're like, kind of where you're starting, about, eventually you're going to end up somewhere there. But what happens in between, I generally don't plan it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's what I mean. Is like your overarching goal, yes.
Yeah.
But a specific end game in mind, maybe no.
Yeah.
I think for me, I do about the same amount of prep, whether it's a short campaign or a long campaign. And the thing that really makes the difference for me and how much prep I do is the world that that we're going to tell the story in, is it one that I'm creating from scratch, or is it one that kind of already exists? Like if I'm going to run a Star Wars game, like I do very little prep, virtually none, right? Because I ask the characters, what are your characters, or the PCs, what are your characters? And then I'm just like, I know exactly what happens from here on out, And I'm kind of the same way with superhero stories, especially that's why I love Masks so much. Teen superheroes, like I know those stories so well. Like I don't need to do any prep. I know the tropes. I know how to make them work, and like all I need to do is like I need some connections between your characters and something terrible from your past, and I know exactly what happens next. Like, let's go, and you can throw me curveballs. I got it.
That's so funny because I actually do more prep for stuff in an IP.
Oh,
Like,
really?
I did so much more prep than I usually do for our One Ring campaign because I wanted to make sure. I was like, oh, I think like I know like this elf is the great grandson of this elf, and like I
Right,
knew,
yeah.
I sort of knew it, but I was like, wait, I really need to brush up and just make
Yeah.
sure I get it right and that
Yeah,
tie it all
yeah.
together. Not that anyone. I mean, Kai was in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I knew, but like nobody else really
But
knew.
I-
But
Yeah.
I
but
also feel like I would be on that end of it,
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
like I don't trust myself to know an IP
Yeah.
backwards and forwards that well. Even if I do,
Yeah.
I would still find myself like looking like just to double,
Oh.
just to
Yeah.
yeah.
just
No,
to make sure.
My Star Wars prep is my Pinterest board. I'm like, oh, I know what this character here. This character, that's who you're meeting right now. This is them. This is their whole story, and it just like I just grok Star Wars and teen superheroes, you know. But like if I'm creating the setting, then I do a lot of prep work, not about what's currently going to happen, but what is the history.
Yeah.
So like when we did Trinity's Wake, which Pooja and Courtney were our stars, like I had pages and pages about what had happened in the decades before
Oh yeah.
our game.
And it was
as-
super interesting and like really helped as a player to be able to dive in and
yeah.
and ground ourselves within the world.
Yeah, and that's the kind of thing I love to do. I'm like, how did the world get to this point where we're going to start our story?
Yeah.
And then from there, like you were talking about earlier, I had some vague plans, vague thoughts about like, here's some key points that are going to happen. Here's some things that are going to occur. Like here's a sort of timeline if they don't do anything. But you guys also threw me for a huge curveball, you know, like in the very first session. And I'm like, shit, I did not have the things happen before they were already ready to leave town. And now like,
Hilariously,
yeah.
we all thought you wanted us to leave town.
Yeah.
I know, right? Yeah. It was like,
Seemed very obvious.
yeah. It was such a like, it was in some ways it was such a failure of communication, but totally fun for everybody. So it was like, let's do it. Okay.
Much like how Slate and Esme communicate.
Exactly. Yeah. Like it's and so anyway, but like this like I'm running a home game of D&D right now, and did huge amounts of prep of like, here's all of the history, like here's like 10,000 years of history for this game. And then it's like, but we get into sessions and I'm mostly just kind of winging it.
Yeah.
But I do have like for D&D, like and a crunchier game like that. Also, I tend to do a little more prep when you do have to worry about balance.
Yeah.
Right? And it's a number of factors, but for me, I don't think a length of time of the expected campaign, I don't think is a huge determiner in how much prep I do. I think there's so many other factors that have a bigger impact on how much prep I do. So, but yeah,
I think I think I kind of like similar to Pooja, do more prep for short stuff. Especially when I'm running stuff for like a convention, like a one shot.
Oh.
That stuff is like much more tightly prepped.
Yeah, because it has to, like, you've got, I think the time constraint means that for our style, like the time constraint means that like a lot more prep has to go into it, because I can't faff about
that's
for
true. Yeah.
2.5 hours and then still have a satisfying thing in hour 3.
Plus, in a convention setting, you also have to consider that you might be playing with people you've never played with before, and people who've never played that system before.
Yeah.
So you need that space for like learning. Okay, what dice do I roll? How do I play the game?
Yeah. And for I also tend to do for like campaign stuff, or even for shorter campaigns, I tend to not do a bunch of prep like way ahead of time. Like my prep usually ends up like either after session 0 or after session 1, especially. Because like I like session 0 is like safety stuff, basic world stuff. Who are you? Session 1 is like a warm-up kind of where everyone's figuring out whether the stuff that they wrote down about their characters actually fits.
Yeah.
Because like I've done that where I like wrote out like a character concept and then I started playing the character and I was like, oh, I am doing something very different than that. That is not what I'm doing.
Right.
I am a different thing than that. And it's fine. But then like once that kind of settles in after session 1 is usually when I really like settle in. I'm like, okay, this is what we can start like mixing together. This is what we can prep from it. So I think the timing of my prep varies more, especially with long form campaigns, because people take that a little bit more time to settle in too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I know at least for me as a player, like if I know something's going to be 12 or more sessions, like, okay, the first time I'm like jumping in there. And then by like session 2 or 3, then I like really know the character.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, there's a big like that easing in period of the first few sessions is so nice in a longer campaign.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like so like with my D&D home game, like we're on about like session 26, 27 at this point. And so like I now have a much better idea of the characters. And so like I have all this prep that I did of what had happened in the world before this moment. And now I have a really good idea of what the players want the PCs to do, and what kind of things are going to interest them, what kinds of things are going to make them react one way or another way. So I do very little prep for that other than sort of creating stat blocks, right? So like I have stat blocks in case we go into combat and I need them.
Yeah.
But mostly I pretty much know when we're going to go into combat or not because of the way I deliver it to the table. Like, you know, if I give them a chance to talk it out and the characters that they're in conflict with are not pure evil, they're going to talk it out and they're going to figure out some way to not have to kill them, right? Because they're like anti-murder hobos. You know, they're like, F, they just make friends with it. And
Defeat them with the power of friendship.
Right, yeah.
I do think that that's a really interesting thing about long form campaigns, like, because once you get into them and you're in them for a long time, the players know each other really well, the DM knows them all really well, and y'all get into this like groove. And I do think that at that point you can end up doing a lot less prep, theoretically.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it is just really funny that like it's like inverse proportion. That the amount of prep that I feel like I would need to do for a really, really long campaign versus for a one shot.
Yeah.
Because at some point you're like, okay, I have a sense of the flow of it. And then it's prepping. Like the hardest thing for me as a GM is combat.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah.
And I think you're going to probably encounter that more with a shorter campaign, if that makes sense, because there's not like the relaxed time or like the as much character development time.
Shopping episodes.
Right? Fewer beach episodes and it's 3 or 4. I mean, depending on your
Yeah.
but
I mean, if you're doing 4 sessions, I mean, you've got a shopping session, you've got a beach session,
Shopping,
session,
a hot spring.
A makeover
session, and it's like there's your campaign right there. Like, when are you supposed to adventure? Glampain. Yes, I love it.
Make that.
Yes. Oh, sorry. Yeah, Glampain. I love it. Okay.
I do think too.
Happy Jack special.
I do think that for a shorter campaign, it is a little bit easier to prep stat blocks and stuff for the duration because generally
they're not leveled.
Yeah, well, they're not really leveling as much.
Yeah.
And you also kind of know, like, hey, we're going to stay in this. We're going to be fighting demons mostly. So there's less like wandering about the world and running into different types of baddies.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, we need a dragon here and we need, some, trolls over here. Like, it's like, okay, in a 3-session arc or a 4-session arc, they're mostly going to be like, oh, we've discovered our problem. Yeah. Let's go through to this slowly until we get to the root of the problem. And it's mostly going to be kind of the same category of. So it's a little bit easier to prep quickly because you can have a bunch of stat blocks ready that are all in that sort of genre or that category of baddie. I don't know. Does that make sense?
No, it
Yeah,
makes
no, that's
total
great.
sense. And I it just made me realize something that I have done with this home campaign is I have like the genre of baddie, for different acts. So like Act 1, they were always coming up against goblins. And then we moved on a little bit and it's been Sahagin. And then the next act, like the act we just started is like, it's pirate time. So I just have my pirates blocks and I know I can use those and all I have to do is come up with like the captain or something interesting and weird about this one boss or whatever. And otherwise I just pull out the generic pirates and we're good to go. And it doesn't matter that they're the same stat block as what they fought 2 sessions ago.
Although no one remembers that.
No,
Like, you think that they do, but no one remembers that.
Yeah. They're like, oh, what's their AC? I'm like, well, you fought them, like 20 of them last, like 2 weeks ago.
Time is a lie.
Yeah.
Asking people to remember things is rude.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Completely agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mailbag 2.
Yeah.
Mailbag 2.
I guess I could read this one.
You got it? Okay.
Yeah, sure.
I'll do 3.
Or
Kimmy and
mail-
I can split 3.
Mailbag 2. I write to you with a most humble defense of, a wayward plea on behalf of, a clarion summoning the militia for prep. In a recent show, one of the guests kept repeating, prep is death. And while I do think that over prep can slow things to a crawl and make a GM too attached to all their little darlings, I think every GM just has their own level of prep. I prep much, much less than I used to. Most of my prep is 1 or 2 notebook pages and maybe some stat and NPC blocks. But that prep makes gameplay much easier. I also think that prep assists games that traditionally don't use it. For example, I played in a Blades in the Dark game last year, and I loved it, and I loved the system. However, I did notice that the sessions where the GM did have a chance to prep some things went smoother and were more fun. Our last session was a fully epic romp of assassination and revolution. Vive la revolution! And having the GM know who we were going to run into where helped immensely, I think, instead of having to figure out a dozen orcs who want a dozen pies on the fly. This makes sense for a game that is mostly skulking in specific locations. What Blades in the Dark really introduced me to was the idea of collaborative prep. There's a point specifically in the cycle of the game where you decide where your next score is, and each session could end with that. Giving the GM a chance to go back and at least jot some notes and make some NPCs at that location, even generate a map if they feel up for it. Carlos Salazar on the Discord.
Not so much a question, but a debate topic. And frankly, as a producer brain, even though I've never GM'd a campaign in my life. I've done one-shots and I've written theatrical LARPs and I write mods for LARPs. I am team prep.
Yeah.
I'm team prep to a point. I learned working with the Dungeon Master show.
Yeah.
So when I wrote episodes for that, I started off, I was such a tight ass at first. Like, I need to write down every little detail. I need to plan everything. And eventually I realized that if I just let go, the players and the actors will make it better than I could ever imagine. So what I shifted to in my script writing was, instead of writing out entire scenes, I wrote bullet points. I'm like, here are the 3 beats of the scene. Here are the things we need to hit. And the rest of it, go. Magic will happen. It will. And I think any player or GM can tell you that a big part of running a good game is it being able to pivot.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can plan for contingency A, B, C, D, E, and F, and they will do contingency Q.
Absolutely.
And you're like, well, I didn't plan for them to seduce the dragon, so here we go.
Here we go. Yeah. So I guess I got to figure out what this dragon's kink is.
Yeah, but I think Carlos makes a good point about how, like, when you prep something, things just flow a little more smoothly and you don't have to make up as much stuff on the fly. Because some players and GMs are stronger with improv and others aren't.
Yeah.
And then I think is like a really good point that, like, the thing that Carlos said that I think I most agreed with is that every GM just has their own level of prep.
Yeah.
I mean, whether or not that's prep that's like super useful or even just to make yourself feel better.
Yeah.
Like, I have too much anxiety to go in zero prep. Like,
Mhm.
Yeah.
that would just make me really uncomfortable the entire session in a way that would hinder, even if people don't want to do anything that I had prepped for.
Yeah.
At least I know I've got something in my pocket.
Yeah.
Whereas if I don't have anything in my pocket, then I don't have anything in my pocket.
Yeah.
I do.
And that's all I can think about.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like some level of prep is just like a security blanket.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, I'm just gonna have my stuffy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Totally.
You don't have to use it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Like it's you've got it in your pocket just in case. Yeah.
Mhm.
Were you about to?
Yeah, and I think, like we were talking about before, I think it varies not even just GM to GM, but GM to game or
Yeah.
GM to system or session to session.
Yeah.
Like, I've talked before about how, like, sessions, I know there's going to be a combat. I generally do a lot more prep. Not because
Yeah.
I like reviewing the rules, stuff like that. I've sort of this is completely because I'm an ex-swim team person, but like I think of it as like swimming.
Mhm.
Like, if you're going to be swimming long form in the ocean, you might want to do more. You might need a little bit more of a raft. You might
Yeah.
not just be able to tread water that long.
Yeah.
Like, some people are just great at treading water. You can tread water all the time, no problem. Some people want their little floaties on their arms. Some
Mhm.
people want a whole little inner tube. Some people want a boat.
Yeah.
They want a boat. Some people want a cruise ship. Like
Some people,
Luxury
Yeah.
yachts.
Yeah.
some people are going to be on their tubes,
Yeah.
and those tubes are going to be strapped to other tubes, and then they're going to have 3 ice chests.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Everybody's got their own way of doing it.
Yeah. And I think the more, like, whatever makes you feel comfortable. Like,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that, like, just like Purdue was just saying, like, but I think also, like, reflecting on yourself as a GM
Yeah.
and being like, okay, how prepared I am. Because we say, like, we've been joking about, like, improv and stuff like that, but that can also lead to a very unsatisfactory outcome for your players
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And I think we
Yeah.
do really need to be honest about that.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes it can be amazing. It can feel very tailored and like it's like couture GMing.
Yeah.
Like, here, we've made this specifically for you right now.
Yeah.
But also sometimes it can be like, oh, well, now it feels like, it's not as satisfying. It feels like and a lot of people do give that feedback when I do more improv things outside of, like, a lot of people here who are
Mhm.
kind of used to the style of it. It felt like they were driving and they don't want to drive.
Yeah.
They want you to be
Yeah.
the chauffeur. They want you to take them on this adventure, and they want to be doing and reacting
Yeah.
rather than as proactive.
Yes.
It's like the party bus of campaigns versus the like 3-person bicycle of campaigns.
Yes. We're like
That's-
on it with the metaphors.
Wow, that is- Yeah, that just kind of nails it. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and we had a mail a few weeks or maybe months ago at this point. I don't know. It's still March 2020. But we had an email that was like somebody was like, "Ooh, describe what you see," and the player was like, "Isn't that your job?"
That
Yeah.
happened to me playing Daggerheart for the first time.
Yeah.
Someone's like, "Oh, you see a woman like watching you," and I'm just like, well, "Who is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who is it? Who is it?" And like, "No, you decided this." I was like,
Yeah.
"Wait, what?
Wait, what?
I'm supposed to?"
Yeah.
Because I guess Daggerheart's more of like a collaborative thing, but I didn't
Yeah.
know that going into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now I know what to
Daggerheart has a lot of like
expect.
set the scene stuff
Yeah.
that's
Mhm.
like from like what they have in the Between
Yeah.
or in
Mhm.
Brindlewood Bay.
Yeah, there's, and that whole style has just become a lot more common
Mhm.
in the TTRPG world. Whereas with trad gaming, like that was not a thing that you did. It was the GM is all knowing, all powerful, sets all the scenes. All you do is say what your character does and answer what your character says.
Mhm.
And lots of people were comfortable with that. And it's totally fine if that's what
Yeah.
you want to do. Like, absolutely.
And I still really enjoy that sometimes.
Yeah.
It can
Yeah.
be really, especially if I'm doing something, like, honestly, like, if I were one of the players in your upcoming
Yeah.
Dune
Uh-huh.
campaign,
Yeah.
I don't know anything about Dune.
Oh,
My
yeah.
husband is a Dune fanatic and knows everything, and he has all the books and all the things, and I'm like, I saw both movies one time,
Yeah.
and I haven't seen the old movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
It's
don't need
real
to see
weird.
the old
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah,
You don't need
so
to see
the
the old
So,
movie.
like-
guidance in the lore is good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I was playing in that campaign.
Yeah.
I probably would be much more like, I would like to be on the party bus, please. I will,
Yeah.
I will sit in the back of the party bus and observe the rest of the party
Yeah.
bus. Who knows more about the party bus?
Yeah. Well, and we've got kind of a mix of players in their experience with the Dune world, and so I think it was
You know what the one right.
yeah, and that's kind of like your One Ring game really was like kind of a good prep for the Dune game, because very similarly we've got Kadave who knows everything there is to know about Dune, and then like Kai and Joey are both like, yeah, we've seen the movies. I think I read the book back in high school, and it's like they've got a passing knowledge, but they don't have like deep detail. And I don't remember about Michelle. I think Michelle also had like very little knowledge of it, but that's fine because we're gonna do something a little different than the movies, you know. But that whole system is also really interesting because like I can't do any prep for this. So my prep is just reading as much behind the scenes of Frank Herbert's writing as I can, so I can kind of more understand like how he got to various places and why. And then otherwise just looking at images to get myself inspired. But the whole game, the way it works is the players at the first session create the house. Even before they create their characters, they create the house that your story focuses on. And so I'm like, I can't even make the NPCs yet because I don't know who's going to be needed in this house. And my players could even say like, yes, I'm the heir to the throne of this house, or I'm the chief of security. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess I don't need that NPC, So I'm not doing any of that. I'm just waiting to see what happens. And then that week between session 0 and session 1, I am just going to be furiously like brainstorming, but yeah, it is like I do very little prep. That's just my nature as a GM in the sense of like prepping the details of the mechanics and stuff. My prep all goes into like that like deep level of, or I don't want to make it sound like, oh, it's just better because it's deep. It's just that like that lower level, like I'm looking at the geology of the planet and getting my footing there. Not
The
thinking
lore.
the lore. Not thinking at all about like what is this actual story going to be. And that's just because that's the way my brain processes it all and how it makes it fun for me. But I do think it is like I do always have that thing in my back pocket. I do also, in like what's the I had his name early, Raymond Chandler, the mystery novelist. And he was like, when all else fails, have somebody barge in with a gun. And it's like, I've always got that somebody with a gun on the other side of the door ready in case we stall out. But generally, but I'm also really spoiled with the players I get to play with all the time.
I do think
Like we're all really good at 3-person biking, so
Ah.
yeah.
Well, I mean, you and I have done it so many times now.
Yeah.
I do feel like, and Steffi from the chat has a good point, that it's not a lack of proactivity necessarily, but like a difference in play style in that, like, if your table is just really interested in discovering things and really interested in the mystery of it all, then that's a completely different experience than like, forging the whole thing together. And it's just a different type of enjoyment. It's not better or worse. It's just very different. And like, there's so many times, especially when I'm playing with people who think completely differently than I do, that I just really want to explore what they're thinking and how they're thinking about it and what because there is a sense when you've played, like, when you're playing with a group of people who you know really well, or that you don't necessarily know well, but you all kind of have the same vibes about things that you would think about.
Yeah.
Like, to have something that the GM comes from, like, out of left field is just really fun. It's like a real, like, eye-opening experience sometimes to be like, okay, well, this isn't necessarily what I would have thought of.
Yeah.
Somebody else could think of, like, the GM could think of something completely different.
Yeah.
And I really like that. I like that, like, what are you going to give me?
Yeah.
I love a good surprise.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
I love systems that make it easy to going back. Like the One Ring does a great job. They have a whole bunch of not adventures even, but like locations. They have a name for it and I forget it. But it's like map based. Like so it's like in this area of the map there's like these interesting things and you can go and turn and read more about them and have like a little adventure hook there. So it's not even like a full adventure, and I loved pulling from that and tweaking things, so that actually made the system require less prep. Because it's like, oh, I know, okay, they're going to go here. Here's some ideas. If I want to prep something completely of my own, that's fine. If I want to take the ideas they've given me and just use them whole cloth, great. If I want to tweak them and make them our own, like I can do that too. So that also, the system also, some systems make the GM prep much lighter than others. So that also, I think, really changes how I approach a system and how much prep I'm going to do. I found myself prepping a ton for like lore knowledge and just really brushing up on, okay, Celebrimbor, which years was he here? What year did all these things. Sorry, I'll go back and I'll reel in my nerddom.
Never.
On this podcast?
Yeah. But then like when it came to like adventure ideas, I felt like I was never out of ideas. Like there was one week where I like had no time to prep anything, I didn't get to think of some custom adventure, then I pulled from the book and just like tied it into what we were already doing, maybe switched the person that they found in this ancient tower to somebody else who already was part of the game in some way. So I love systems that help you out with that. Or if you go out and find cool adventures that people have written, and that you can like bring in and then use pieces of, you don't have to run it like verbatim. Like use it as inspiration. And I feel like that's one of the reasons, like after time, a lot of GMs need less prep because we've run so many things, we've played so many things. There's a lot more ideas that we've seen in action. So it makes it easier to implement ourselves.
Absolutely. I did that with my home D&D game recently. So our first adventure was completely made up from scratch adventure, and then the second one we had talked at the beginning. So we have like we're sort of based out of a city that's on the sea, it's the table had kind of talked about how it's kind of funny, like a lot of campaigns will have like a city by the ocean or by the sea, and then like nothing aquatic ever happens, and I'm like, yeah, that's true. And so, so for the second act, basically like, one of the players, June, had gotten this, this independent adventure that was written and, with some kind of Kickstarter or something. And it was all about like Sahagin and this sunken ruin and like the town that was being plagued and all that. And I'm like, oh, I can just plug this right in, and then it becomes a great like segue and setup for the next act, which is also all like made from scratch. And so it was sort of a palate cleanser kind of thing.
Like a little bridge.
Yeah, exactly. And so like for months I was like, I don't have to really prep because I'm just running the adventure that's already there. So
I'm in an interesting prep situation right now. I'm actually at the end of a 6-year campaign.
Oh wow.
And next weekend we're doing our big battle, like the big final battle. And before my GM has several weeks to prepare. And I knew that my character is probably going to do something real crazy that could probably get him killed. But I felt a need to actually tell my GM that I want to do this. Not because I care if I succeed or fail, but because I want it to have an impact. I want to have a good story. And I felt that preparing him for what I plan to do will help him to prepare something else.
Yeah.
So what he ended up doing, I just had to look this up in our group, because this is the big finish, he has time to prepare. He gave all of us 3 questions to answer. So the first one was like, what outcome are you, the player, hoping from the battle? A victory with sacrifice, a dramatic triumph, a noble sacrifice. 2, are there any moments involving your character that you really want to have happen during the battle, like jumping off the wall into a mob of undead and destroying them with magic? Number 3, are there any NPCs you would like to receive special attention during the battle? And I think these were actually really good questions, because you're at the end, you want it to be satisfying, and there's nothing that's more frustrating than you're like, oh man, I wish that I'd done that one thing, or I wish I'd had that opportunity to do the thing. So I think this is one of those cases where prepping gives your players that satisfaction and that feeling of like, yes, it's complete. I love this ending. I feel whole. So I'm very excited for next week.
That is very
It's like
exciting.
the
Wow.
end of a really well-written television show. You want it to feel like the payoff.
Yeah.
And especially at the end of long campaigns, I feel like
Yeah.
that's where prep can really help you.
Yeah. Well, and
Because
it's
like,
yeah.
if it,
you've put in 6 years to this campaign.
Yeah.
You want it to end spectacularly. Whatever that means for you or each different person is that's the question. But you want it to have that, because like it's so rare that you get to actually end a campaign a lot of times anyway. You know, like we're pretty good about it on the show, but like home games, you know, a lot of times you fizzle out because of schedules, or somebody moves, or somebody has kids, or somebody gets a new job, like all these reasons that can just kind of throw off the home campaign and just end up with people just gone. But yeah, it's so much better when you get to sort of do that little bit of work and I think that's really smart. Like ask them, what is the stuff that you want to see that's going to make this feel really special to you?
I was surprised how many PCs want to die.
Oh yeah.
so many.
I
so
can
many.
go either way. I told them, like, live, die, I don't care. But there are some who are like, hey, my character hasn't hit death yet. I want to.
Yeah.
So that's something that
Yeah.
will target you. Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
I've had plenty of times when I didn't mind if a character died. I've had very few where it's like, no, I want my character to die. Like this is time. This is the right moment. Like my character should die here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
A little keyboard war going on in the background.
All right.
It's all Pooja and Kimmy fighting over. You can't tell who's typing.
But you're all correct, actually.
Yes.
Like they're all of those
Thanks.
were
Great
bad.
radio, guys. Great radio.
Sorry, yeah.
Yes. No, it's
We're arguing in the chat about Game of Thrones ending, BSG's ending, and Lost's ending,
Yeah.
and how they all let people down.
Yeah, which one was worse? Yeah.
All right. From the archive, 2021. Adam, do you want to
want me
share
to-
this one with me?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll start it. Dearest Happy Jackers, Jack Files in the HJ Nation. Oh, I like that one. Today's letter for the advice show is about how PCs can always surprise you and ask your thoughts about fitting into the mold of DMing for another person's game. I'm guessing you are all familiar with Friedrich Nietzsche's phrase, that which does not kill us makes us stronger. Yet, does it make us stronger if not being killed is largely a function of having run away rather than face the challenge? Rather than try to answer this right away, first, some context.
we live to fight again another day.
Yeah. I recently had the honor and pleasure of being a guest DM for a D&D 5e game. My first foray back into the D&D fold since 3.5. Ooh, that's a joke.
Oh, 3.5.
The overall concept of this game is to have a different, possibly recurring group of DMs that facilitate adventures for a core group of players. If you're wondering how this works out, at the very beginning of the game, the PCs encountered an artifact which caused them to shift across worlds and time. With every jump, they retain their memories, character features, and gear, except for the artifact which they must find in the new story arc in hopes that the next jump will take them home. I absolutely did this campaign with one of my groups many years ago. Same kind of thing.
The Quantum Leap.
Yeah.
Or sliders.
Or
sliders,
sliders, yes. Yeah. So, yeah, each DM's story arc is a one-shot that takes place between jumps and sandboxed from the other DM's arcs, although DMs are given the option to communicate and plan with each other. Then, with some production editing magic, a couple of the players take the recorded game and turn it into a podcast. For some shameless promo, search the interwebs for the Adventures from Glenview Mansion podcast. There are a few episodes out as of writing this letter, and the podcast will likely run through at least the summer and possibly longer.
That's from 2021.
Yeah, I wonder if they, I'm curious to know, if they kept going. I was the third level story arc DM and had never played with anyone in the group. This was fine since I've run plenty of one-shots for various groups before. The group was great and we all had a good time. I find one-shot gaming with strangers to be a perfect way to be surprised by players and their PCs, and this group certainly did just that. Without knowing much in advance about players' encounter preferences, I tried to provide a balanced mix of social, mental, and combat challenges. The social and mental encounters went well, but the combat encounters blew my mind. Most of the D&D, as well as non-D&D players' characters from other games, were more than happy to slay opponents and loot treasure, sometimes to the detriment of my NPCs. Occasionally, players' characters from other games used a mix of diplomacy and other non-lethal combat options to overcome without killing to resolve combat, typically linking those approaches to role-playing characters, classes, alignment, or backstory. What surprised me about this group was their persistent preference to avoid combat altogether. They always led with social skills and character abilities, such as the Calm Emotion spell, to prevent initiating combat, or tried to run away when combat started. I've had individual players in previous games avoid combat encounters, but never an entire group avoid combat as if it was an allergy. From what I knew of these characters, none were specifically anti-physical conflict. The party consisted of a chaotic neutral bard, lawful good barbarian, interesting, and chaotic good transmuter wizard. Sometimes the group's preferred strategies worked, and sometimes it only delayed the combat from happening. Would you like to?
Yes. Oh my God. With my guest TM story arc complete, I reached out to the players to learn more about this playstyle preference. One player noted that this character became extremely adverse to violence after a traumatic fight in a previous DM story arc, and he thought the strategy would offer better engagement for podcast listeners. I await feedback from the other two players. Ultimately, while surprising and a good learning experience, this phenomenon was entirely manageable and did not seem to negatively affect anyone's enjoyment. I am going to say, caveat, this is Kimmy inserting into the story. Combat is something that a lot of podcasts and stories and stuff, struggle with, because it can be hard to listen to combat as just an audio podcast.
Yeah.
And some people love it. There are people who absolutely adore that, depending on the system, especially if they know a system really well. And there's some people who hate it. That will make people turn off and stop listening.
Interesting.
So it really just kind of depends, and that's why different podcasts take different, they'll edit out all the mechanics pieces and keep in just the story elements, or they'll edit that out completely, and some just do a summary of the combat, or there's so many different ways people have tried to handle this problem. And we've talked about that on different things about different flavors of AP, but just so you know.
Interesting.
Yeah. So there are absolutely podcasts out there who avoid combat to because they think that'll make more people sustain listening longer. They won't turn off as many listeners. We just don't like it. No, I'm just kidding. So,
we just go for the opposite.
Yeah, we just go for all the
demographic.
beach episodes and the glamping episodes.
Glamping.
So if everyone was peachy keen, why write in about it for the advice show? As potentially superfluous background info, I finally come to the crux of the matter. In my usual games, I awarded experience points to PCs for overcoming any type of encounter. They can overcome combat encounters through lethal, subdual, or non-violent solutions. I'd like to think
What does subdual mean?
To subdue something.
Yeah, so
quiet-
basically
to quiet.
non-lethal combat.
I was
Knock
just
it
gonna-
out with a mallet.
Yeah.
My general go-to is just to keep reading and
Sorry.
assume that everyone assumes I know what it means. That's worked for me for like 15 years so far, except when I say it wrong and people are like, actually, I'm sorry. Sorry. I like to think that I'm rather flexible in what it means to overcome an encounter. However, to me, running away is simply surviving an encounter and not necessarily overcoming it. I may award a smaller amount of experience points for running away from an encounter if the PCs learn something that they could use later. So running away has the game mechanical effect of taking longer to earn their next character level. This recent game awarded experience by milestones. The PCs earned a level automatically when they complete each DM story arc, at least for now at lower levels. In the grand scheme of things, this could be fine since PCs completed the overall story arc objective. However, it leaves me wondering if the PCs should earn that level regardless of if they continually avoid rather than overcome multiple encounters before reaching that arc's final objective. Hence, my motivating question about getting stronger from what does and does not kill us. I feel like having multiple DMs could complicate this issue, but it could be mitigated by having DMs with adjacent story arcs be on the same page and together manage player expectations. My questions for today's show crew are: 1. Have you ever had an entire group of PCs use an avoidance strategy towards combat encounters as their default approach for all combat in the game? If yes, how did that go? 2, what are your thoughts on awarding experience to PCs that run away from an encounter, and would that response differ based on the type of encounter? 3, were you ever a GM in a similar type of game, not West Marches, that cobbled together a campaign from one-shots with the same players and multiple non-player GMs, whether those GMs had to coordinate their content or not? If yes, what was that experience like? What advice would you give to people planning or to play or run those types of games? Cheers. Shawn from just outside Washington, D.C. Are you Jedi on the Discord? P.S. Drink a tasty beverage of your choice. P.P.S. Pretend that you're all co-GMing the next story arc. Each of you contribute one element to the arc, such as setting location, player's overall mission, type of encounter, blah, 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 secret, BBEG detail, a secret, a MacGuffin, and so on. I feel like we'll end the episode on that.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
Yeah.
I have zero experience in this, so I'm going to go get a tasty drink.
Okay.
I think.
So, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's look at question number 1.
Number 1, have you ever had an entire group of PCs use an avoidance strategy toward combat encounters as their default approach to all combat in game? And if so, how did it go?
I don't think I ever have not with like trad gaming. Like I've played some story games where it's yes, you run away because that's like there's like played I think it was during one of our Rainbow Railroad fundraisers when I played a Tin Candles session camp, or we did a Tin Candles game on stream, and like that's all running away. It is like like you're
and that's the thing. Like horror games, you're much more likely to end up with a situation where it's like if you're playing traditional Call of Cthulhu, if you're playing Ten Candles, if you're playing Call of Cthulhu, what's that one called that has the pulp or traditional play style? But that one I played a short on that, and we ran away from everything because we were little normal peoples who were just going to die.
Sometimes that is the goal of the game. So simple answer to this. I was just like, wait, I'm getting into the other questions. But simple answer to this question is no, I don't think I've really done that except in games where that was known ahead of time that was kind of the point.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty big problem.
Yeah.
Like, especially in games where combat is one of the major pieces of how the system functions. I think at that point I would have a conversation with the players, like out of character, like just, hey, you're doing this.
Yeah.
Is this a character choice? This is going to affect like mechanically how the system levels you up. This is going to change all these things. Do you want to keep doing this?
Yeah.
Do you not want to do combat? Because they mentioned that someone had like a bad experience with combats. I don't know if it meant like their character died.
Yeah, right? Did
It's a
the
character.
did the
Well, I
character
think
have a
it's
bad experience, or did the player?
It sounded like
it
the
feels
player.
like this is, to me, reading this over, it's one player noted that his character became extremely adverse to
Yeah.
violence
Yeah.
after a traumatic fight in a previous story arc. So this was a player choice based on character experience,
Yeah.
not
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that
I-
changes things for me because I think if that's a character choice the players are making, I would still talk to them and be like, hey, this is going to have the mechanical effect of leveling, slowing way down.
Mhm.
I think that's fine. I think that's great. If you're making that choice, just realize that A plus B is going to equal C for our campaign.
Uh-huh.
And just make sure they're fine with that. Because, like, if that's the game they want to play, if
Yeah.
no one's angry that they keep running away and they're
Yeah.
having fun with it,
yeah.
rock on.
Yeah.
But you gotta communicate that with your
Right.
GM because I've been in situations where I realize like, oh, my GM spent hours prepping this thing and we're just gonna skip it. It feels rude
Yeah. Uh-huh.
to me to just skip things. Like I understand it's gonna happen, but
Right.
I think if you want your campaign like that, that's between you and the players.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like to just talk it, just communicate. please.
Yeah, I feel like what
Yeah.
really feels like what happened here is just like this absolute lack of communication from the player side,
Yeah.
and they were the ones who would have known because your
Yeah.
GM is new in each iteration here, rather
Right.
than
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
and like all your players know all the backstory, and the DM doesn't necessarily.
Yeah, and like before they asked you to DM, it probably would have been a good idea to say, hey, don't go real combat heavy. Or like if there's going to be a lot of combat, just know like our characters are going to run away from it. They're going to avoid it at all possible. Like just a quick heads up could have
or at
saved-
least like maybe
Yeah.
once that started happening.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
I would say personally, maybe this is because we're now in like 40 episodes
Yeah.
into
Yeah.
a D&D campaign that is milestone based
Yeah.
leveling. So it does not matter how many combats we have been
Yeah.
in. We level up when it feels appropriate and fun.
Yeah.
And so I don't actually think I don't
Yeah.
think that they should be penalized for this in leveling wise. Like,
All right, that's question 2.
oh, sorry.
See, that's
Oh,
why.
I thought it was
Yeah.
the answer.
We'll move on to question 2.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on awarding experience to PCs that run away from an encounter? And would that response differ based on the type of encounter?
So,
But yeah, like
yeah.
if you're doing milestone based leveling, which they are, then they hit the milestone. How they hit the milestone is
Yeah.
not the important part.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't and I don't think that
Yeah.
they should be. It feels punitive.
Feels bad, man.
It feels bad, man. It feels bad. It feels punitive
Yeah.
to say, oh, well, you decided you didn't want to do any combat because of like character choices. But since you decided that your characters were traumatized,
Yeah.
you're also going to level slower and like,
Yeah, that does feel bad to me also. Yeah, and I love milestone leveling because I think it makes so much more sense. It gives you so much more freedom to figure out different ways around the game and whether or not you want to do combat in this case or and you can switch up so easily between like, oh, we're fighting now. Or like, no, let's just try to like sneak around and then seduce the guards. Like, either one, perfectly reasonable option.
But I feel like there's a difference between coming up with a clever solution to avoid combat versus just saying nope and running away.
And running away.
well,
Yeah.
they tried all those things before. That is the thing. Like they started with social skills, character abilities, all of that stuff. So they were going through all of
Yeah.
the things
Okay.
to keep themselves out of combat. It wasn't like they were running away right away.
Yeah.
But they were trying to avoid it in different, I think, more clever ways than I normally would. Because, like, a lot of times I'm just like, okay, sneak, no. Persuasion, no. Bash you in the head, yes. But, like, it does feel like they were really going through all the tools in their toolkit
Yeah.
to try to avoid the combat. And then if all of that failed, like running away to try to figure out another way
Yeah.
around it, it feels like that's
at least
that's
try.
meaningful.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Here's the way I would I I have no idea how I would have reacted in the actual situation, but looking at it from hindsight and my, perfect perspective, which can do no wrong, what I would have done after finding that out would be like, wait, you guys don't want to do combat, but you're still playing D&D, and you don't want to do experience points, but you're still playing D&D. Here's 10 other games that can do the same storytelling way better, that don't use XP and combat as a major thing. So like there are some other ways you can tell this story without having to do these things that are fairly intrinsic to D&D.
See, I would have agreed with you. I think that, and that was kind of the thing I was figuring out in that first question.
Uh-huh.
I think this is a character choice, which makes the fact that it's in D&D make it mean more.
Yes.
I think,
and,
because I think
I want to follow up on that.
having
Yeah.
it be a system where fighting is intrinsic to the world and to the system, and having the characters be like, no, we're not going to make that choice, it makes it more effective. It makes it like more powerful storytelling to me,
Mhm.
because they have to find ways to work in this society and like the mechanics, but like the society where fighting things is like the
norm.
point.
Yeah.
The norm. And I think them bucking that and going like on a different path really is an interesting storytelling choice. And I
Yeah.
think that makes it I think that makes it more interesting. Where if they were in a system where fighting wasn't as big a deal, like I think it would still be interesting, but it wouldn't be quite as challenging.
It's not as much of a statement.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Because I think part of, hey, this is going to make this harder on you as players, but also much harder on your characters, is a big deal. And it's like, okay, we know this and we're all in.
Yeah.
Like the fact that as a GM, you should make sure everyone at the table is okay with it, because sometimes people who sit down for like a traditional D&D experience, and then there's like, oh, the rest of the party doesn't want to fight anything, might not be having a good time.
Right. Yeah.
So make sure everybody's actually on board. But I think that's really cool.
Yeah. 'Cause, I mean, there's a barbarian in there. I'm like, barbarian's kind of built for fighting. Like a transmuter wizard, that's a pretty clear indication. Like, yeah, you don't care if you're combat or not. Like, but like you're a barbarian.
Isn't it lawful good though?
A lawful good barbarian,
Right,
which is
it's-
like, whoa, that is a fascinating choice.
Right?
A barbarian with lawful, like not the good part, but a barbarian trope with a lawful attitude is really fascinating. Yeah.
It seems like they've all made slightly skewed like from the norm.
Yeah.
And I feels like that's a choice to like lean into
Yeah.
this like runaway choice. Not
Yeah.
runaway, but
Yeah.
like avoid combat.
Well,
And-
and maybe chat can answer this for me, but I seem to recall like I'm thinking like with 3 and 3.5, like barbarians had to be a chaotic alignment. So up until like 4th or 5th edition, like you couldn't even technically make a lawful barbarian in the same way you could only, if you were playing a paladin, you could only play a lawful good alignment.
Right.
You know?
So they've made a completely custom, James confirms, yes,
Yeah,
that's the
yeah.
case. So like they've made a customization with the GM's help, I'm assuming.
Well, this was saying
5e
this was
doesn't
in
it?
5e.
Oh, I
but-
thought this was
Yeah, he had
3.5.
come.
I'm sorry. I missed it.
Shawn had come from
I see.
3.5.
Sorry, I misunderstood.
But I mean, like historically for D&D, a lawful barbarian was just not a thing that existed. Right?
Yeah.
And so I think there's some interesting stuff going on here, and I would like to see what they're doing with that. But I think I
We
would
can listen to
Well,
it.
you
apparently.
can.
or, yeah, right.
Listen
Yeah, I
to a
know.
podcast.
I kind of want to go look into
Motion.
this. Yeah, but I feel like the other conversation that could have happened was like, okay, you want to play D&D and you want to be in this situation where you're avoiding combat and you're not doing XP. Like, so let's reimagine what combat means or what conflict means. You know, and what I would do is I would put them in more situations where like you can't run away now. What are you going to do? You know,
And that's
yeah,
like, I really find that that's kind of like a more interesting
Yeah.
response than just saying like, okay, well, you don't get experience at the end of it.
Yeah.
That like, so yeah, I believe that regardless of what ends up happening in this kind of situation, especially, like, I don't think that there's a problem with awarding XP to characters who, like, player characters who are running away from a fight.
Yeah.
Especially if they're doing it as a conscious choice
Yeah.
to avoid the combat rather than, cool, we've got one dude left alive and a bunch of resurrection magic that's going to happen in like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
In that case, I would actually be more like, no, you lost. You don't get XP
Yeah.
from this. But like in the situation where it is a conscious choice for the group to not have combat by any means necessary, I feel like if they succeed in that goal, then yeah, award them for it because they have met that objective.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
There's there's something more realistic about it too.
yeah.
Because, like, I know it's like, oh, simulation is combat or whatever. Like, in most things, if you are on an adventure, you would avoid combat as much as possible.
Yeah.
Like, if your job was to go kill the evil wizard in the tower who takes over the land, you're not going to go fight every mob of his bad guys between
Yeah.
your village and that tower because it lowers the chances of you actually making it.
Yeah.
to your
Right.
objective.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in a way, it's sort of like, okay, this really makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
because the thing that motivates you in D&D to kill all these things is the XP or
Right,
to
yeah.
take their stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, they're actually playing it more as characters
Yeah.
than I think a lot of especially like 3.5 roots and stuff
Yeah.
like that. I know they're playing 5e now,
Yeah.
but like that's a very character-centered choice for D&D, and I think
Mhm.
it's interesting.
Yeah, I think there's some fascinating things that could be happening in this story, and I think it's good that they're doing milestone leveling and they're playing the game that they want to play, even if it seems like to Shawn that they're avoiding combat. They may be avoiding combat, but if they're still accomplishing the goals and completing the stories or moving the stories forward, then you're telling a good story, and that's really all that matters.
Yeah.
And I would just reward them the same for it.
Yeah.
So
All right, number 3. Were you ever a GM or in a similar type of game, not West Marches, that cobbled together a campaign from one-shots? And whether these so basically, like, have you ever GM'd with like a group before?
So yes, as I kind of mentioned during this, I very specifically had done something very similar. So this was my gaming group back in New York, and this is when I was teaching, and like I was actually closer in age to all of the college students than I was to any of my fellow professors, and there weren't any professor groups playing role-playing games that I could find, but I had a whole gaggle of students that were into role-playing games. Most of them were not in my costume classes, so I didn't even have to worry about overlap there for the most part. And the one that is like still one of my closest friends to this day, but anyway, so we had played a number of games together. We mostly did World of Darkness stuff, and then we got into Savage Worlds with Necessary Evil, which was super fun. And then we started this thing where we called it Random Encounter, and I made a list of of different superpowers for each card in the deck. And so, because I started this, I was going to be the first one to kind of set it up. I came up with this big bad. This big bad had there was a MacGuffin, and they had the characters were us. We were playing ourselves. who got sucked into a portal after a game one night, and then ended up in the first world was a fantasy world, and like my first arc for them was like figuring out what the hell happened. They faced down a weak version of the big bad, and then like they got the MacGuffin. Then they found out like there was this like otherworldly entity in the in-between dimension that was like, I'm going to have to keep sending you to defeat this big bad in other incarnations across the multiverse.
Oh, cool.
And so that ended the first arc, and then another person took over and DM'd the next arc, which was in like a sci-fi setting.
Cool.
And then we did Victorian monster hunting. We did like a World of Darkness setting. We did a sort of like Shadowrun setting, so like each person that DM'd would just pick like a setting that they wanted to do. And so what would happen is when you came into this new setting, every player would draw a card, and they would start with no superpowers whatsoever. But at some point when they took damage or faced this extreme situation, they would draw a card and they'd get off the list whatever that power was on that random card.
Nice.
And like, okay, do something with this. And so that was kind of what we did to keep it shaking up, and and
How much coordination did you do with different people running it?
Very little.
Okay.
I did kind of set up and like, okay, everybody, like this is the ultimate thing of the story, is you're having to defeat the same big bad in different multiversal dimensions. So and then here's the list of the superpowers.
Cool.
And that was it, really.
Yeah.
Like, and so there wasn't sort of this overall we're going to have this continuing plot where we build to the definite end.
Mm-hmm.
It was sort of like, we'll just play it by ear. Like, there's always going to be another dimension and another version of this tyrant in there. Yeah. And so we played, I want to say there was probably about 10 rounds. A couple of us did like two different arcs. But we played it for almost a year.
That's
and
cool.
Yeah, and it was a great time. We didn't really coordinate. It was just like we all played. It was always Savage Worlds. We kept the same system, but different things would happen. Like one of our players died.
Yeah.
And not in real life, but in the
One of the characters.
yeah, in the story,
characters.
one of the characters, he
I was gonna say that was a very cheerful way to drop something really dark.
Sorry, yeah. So one of the characters played by and we were playing ourselves, remember?
Yeah.
So Ryan, his character Ryan died in one of the settings.
That's too real. I couldn't play that.
Yeah. Well, he kind of made the choice.
Yeah.
There was a setup and he was like, no, this is really good. I think this is what I would do. I hope I would do this in this situation. And so the next story arc, when they dimension hopped again, we found that dimension's version of Ryan, who now happened to be a werewolf.
That is Sliders. That's Sliders.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I was like, the season 4 premiere of Sliders.
Right? Yeah. So he just ends up continuing on, but now it's a slightly different version of him because he had this whole different history.
Yeah.
But it was I really strongly recommend working with other GMs, rotating GMs, doing that kind of thing, like working together on stories. I always think it's very, very fun. And as long as you're just both of you communicate and both of you chill the fuck out. When you're going to be in that situation, you have to, and I've learned this because I've done it right and I've done it wrong. You have to let go and realize they're not ruining your story.
Yeah.
They are shifting your story, your plural story.
Yeah.
The story that you're working on together. And that's okay. Just like a player says, I'm going to do this out of the blue, and it's completely different from everything you expected and totally blows up all of your prep, and you
Yeah.
got to pivot. Like,
I
a
think
fellow GM can do that too, and it's okay.
yeah, I've done a lot more like co-GMing rather
Mhm.
than like turn-taking GM. I think a lot of the prep for it is very similar. You've got to agree on tone.
Yeah.
You've got to agree on no matter what. Like I've done it. Like I did a campaign a while, like years ago at this point, where we took turns and it was the same characters and then we switched systems,
Oh,
which was fun, and different people GM'd different systems.
cool.
Which was cool because it took away some of the. I mean, it was really hard to translate the characters well every time.
Yes.
So it was a little bit of a challenge. But I got to play champions. That was interesting. But like agreeing on the basic idea of the story, kind of where it was headed. And so everyone like had the same vision for how it was going to work with all the GMs. But like, yeah, you really do have to like, okay, this is your thing now. You're completely handing it off. It's like when you're in a race, like a relay race. I don't do racing with running, only swimming, like I previously suggested. But like in a relay, like you have to trust that the other person's going to do it, and you just like watch and you enjoy. And sometimes they mess up, and sometimes they do great, and you just cheer them on no matter what because you're on a team.
Yeah.
And you have to keep it that way. And if you're too precious about it, I feel like that's when it can become hard. But you've got to agree on that tone and the general direction. Because if you don't have that very like solid, it can go wrong real fast. Because then
Yeah.
people get mad. If you
Yeah.
did a whole bunch of prep to set up for something, then
If you had Avengers, the first one that was before Endgame,
Mhm.
and then you had Endgame,
Yeah.
people are going to be mad
Yeah.
because all the emotional payoff
Yeah.
that you promised needs to happen.
Yeah.
This is the same thing with prep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or if you have major characters that everyone really cares about have a nice, fulfilling ending, and then you bring them back for no reason except monetary gain by a corporation. I'm sorry, I words
It's just so,
What?
you know, like,
Just
and
leave
the
them in
thing
the-
is, like, I know that a lot of people, whatever, I'm not getting into this.
Yes.
I know I brought it up, and I just am not going to continue. We'll have a nerding out just about this.
Yeah. I'm-
But yeah,
yeah.
We're talking about Steve Rogers if you happen to not be on the internet.
I think that one of the interesting things, I've never GM'd this way, but I have been in a campaign.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
Adam and Jason handed off.
Uh-huh.
I think it was the first campaign I ever played with you all.
I think
It's a
so.
home
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
So long ago now. What the
I know, right?
The masks one?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was like 2016.
You all didn't know it was an
2017.
audition, but it was.
We did.
I was like,
Right. Yeah.
really good at playing role
I
playing
know.
games.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Would you like to come to my friend's garage in the middle of Pasadena?
Right.
It's totally normal, I promise.
I know. I remember a conversation with Kimmy and Jason after one of those sessions, and it was like, "What is this actual play? What? People play role playing games on a podcast, and there's an
Like,
audience
for the internet?
What?
For the internet?
Yeah.
But yeah, so and one of the biggest things is that on the player side at least
Mhm.
was just the appearance of like lockstep, that no
Oh.
matter what happened,
Yeah.
y'all were championing each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that that's really important, like, as a table, that whatever happens, if GMs are handing off to each other or anything like that, like, that you champion what's
Yeah.
happened before and what will come after and what's happening during. And I think that maybe that's why I'm having such a kind of like strong reaction to these questions in particular, is that like, no, this table that was in this kind of setup wasn't doing things the way that necessarily this GM was used to.
Mhm.
But I do feel like if you're going to step into something, and with especially across like so many different people involved, that there's a level of collaboration that you agree to from the start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And part of this is just because, like, this is what I work in all the time.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
That, like, when you're making a television show, there's only so many, like, there's, yes, your showrunner has, like, the ultimate whatever, but, like, everybody's kind of got their say and everybody's got their stuff.
Mhm.
And you accept that if another department head is doing something and you may not agree with it, but you do need to accept it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or they get down to set and things have just changed
Mhm.
Yeah.
based before what you talked about, you need to accept it.
Yeah.
No plan survives contact with players or set
No.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah.
Or enemy.
Absolutely.
or enemy, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do think it's okay to ask questions too. Like you
Mhm.
can't it's not like an infallible thing. Like I think it's like okay to in a friendly way, either
Yeah.
in private or if you have that kind of table culture, be like, "Oh, are you sure this is what we're doing?" Oh,
Yeah.
okay, great. And then if they say yes, yes, just go with it.
Yeah.
Don't fight about it. But like also like, hey, I thought we were gonna go kind of this way with the campaign, and make sure you have clear communication constantly.
Yeah.
Because even if you're not the one in charge right now, it's important that you get all the story beats for
Uh-huh.
when you're back in charge or whoever's in charge next
Right,
or
yeah.
however. Like just constantly talking, and don't worry about giving away like meta stuff or whatever. Like
Yeah,
just
yeah.
enjoy it and make sure everybody knows what's happening.
Yeah.
You have to accept it. Pooch is absolutely right. But also like make sure you're checking in about why.
Yeah.
So that you
Yeah.
know long form where that could take the story.
Well, this random encounter campaign that we did, like at first I was very hesitant. Like I'm like, how do I turn this over to somebody else? Like they're gonna know all of the things I planned about this big bad.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm like, well, they're just gonna have to because somebody's gonna have to know. And then it like started to dawn on me, like, well, eventually everybody at the table is gonna know because everybody's planning to take over an
Yeah.
arc. And you know what? It was still fun and super surprising to all of us as things happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. 'Cause-
And that's
yeah.
the thing is like,
Yeah.
because things change and they morph.
Yeah,
And like, especially as you have to go to all these different universes to defeat the big bad, but the big bad is also evolving as they go to all these different universes.
Right, yeah.
And like, I do find that kind of thing really interesting with multiverse concepts.
Mhm.
That,
Yeah.
and like, just in general, when you have a campaign arc where you know who the bad guy is from the start,
Yeah.
that they're not a static point in time.
No.
Like, they're not a fixed moment.
Yeah.
It's things are changing about them as they're changing about you because it's taken you that long to get there, or it's taken you whatever. Like one of the things I love about campaign settings in role-playing games is when the things that the players do have a impact on the world.
Mhm.
And that includes, like, word getting back to the big bad that there's this group of people who are doing these things and, like,
Mhm.
fucking up all their shit.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
the Rise board meeting.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The bad guys should not be stupid. They should be aware of things that are going on. Yeah, because it just makes for better story.
Yeah.
You know.
It's not the destination, it's the journey.
Exactly. Yeah.
Etc. Etc.
It's the loot we get. I mean, friends we made along.
All right. And on that note, thank you for joining us for season 36, episode 15. Please support Jess Pedley, she, her of Underground Oracle Publishing. Next week, we're gonna have a whole new person. It's very exciting, and a whole new year. It'll be amazing. Thank you to our chat mod, James V, and to our amazing Patreons who keep us ad-free and independent. You can join their amazing ranks at happyjacks.org/Patreon. We really appreciate all of you. You make this possible. Thank you so much. My name is Kimmy. You can find my games at goldenlassogames.com, and you can find me here every week on Saturday. It's very exciting. And maybe some upcoming one-shots we're still planning, so it's
Yay.
exciting.
Hi, I'm Pooja. You can find me on the internet as Forgotten Saves. If you want to hear me play TTRPGs, you can find me along with Adam on Sundays playing the astonishing Esthe Para in the Astral Circus.
Sorry.
That's you, Adam.
Sorry. Yes. You can. Astral Circus, super fun. Love doing that. And then starting on January 5th, on Monday evenings, I'm going to be running Dune Adventures in the Imperium, the Dune RPG from Modifius, here on the Happy Jacks Network, with players Kadave, Joey, Kai, and Michelle. It's going to be super awesome. Somebody was like, "That's a stacked cast." I'm like, "Yeah, it's going to be like cheating." I'm gonna do Decima and take some notes, and then I'm gonna like say the first like 10 sentences of the campaign, and then they're just gonna do everything for me.
Yeah.
Like, it's gonna be great. I am planning to be completely surprised at every turn with that cast. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's coming up soon. That's fun. I also I've been doing a project with Emporium for the Wayward Gamer. You can look them up. Friends of the show. They're often listening in, hanging out with us on the podcast as well. But we're doing an Aliens RPG there. It's I think 4 different 4 shots. So 4 short campaigns of different things happening around the same alien event. It's so like different tables, different settings each time, but it's all around the same alien encounter event. So it's really cool. And I think some of it is, I think we start airing in like January, but I'll try to get more detail onto the Discord or something. But it's coming up soon. Emporium for the Wayward Gamer, and they're a lot of fun. So
Nice.
yeah.
And I'm Courtney. You can find me on TikTok at Courtney Lee Craft, where I play the hurdy-gurdy. You can also find me on other previous episodes of shows from this awesome podcast. I was on Cast-Offs with Pooja, where I made Pooja cry. I was on Trinity's Wake with Adam
Yes.
Pooja, where I also made Pooja cry. And then we just wrapped Pirates of Darkwater, where I was the comic relief that reminded you that you were watching a kid's cartoon. And I did not make anyone cry this time.
Yes.
No, that was my job.
Yes.
It's so good. I'm finally getting to start back up into it. I'm on episode 6.
Ooh,
And
yes.
so it's so good. Oh my god. And you make me giggle constantly. Oh my god. Yeah.
All right. Don't forget, we have game days coming up in January 17th and 18th. Join happyjacks.org/Discord to go play games. We need more players than we need GMs. We are a GM heavy community. It's this weird unicorn thing. I don't know. So if you
We
want
just attracted them all to us.
Yeah.
So if you want to just play games, please come. Oh, that's fine. You are not required to run things. We would love you just play the games. We're going to leave with a song today. We're going to leave with a song called I See Ireland in Your Eyes by the Poxy Boggards, and you can find them at poxyboggards.com. poxyboggards.com.
Where
right.
Stu is definitely
He's totally fine. He's great.
totally fine.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, he's great. All right. We'll see you next time, and bye.
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 The dawn climbs over the mountains as another day's begun. I rise, my bones crying weary. My face is warmed by the sun. Winter's chill lies white on the treetops, and its ice flows down the streams. But I am warmed by the vision of the girl that's filling my dream. I see Ireland in your eyes, her rolling fields of green, and as sure as I'm alive, 'tis the lovely Bairns Air me. soft o'er the meadow, as the mist becoming rain. I turn my face to the heavens before the sound can wane. Like a lark, the sound is of silver, and her hair the finest gold. But all the richest of colors fade away to the emerald of old. I see Ireland in your eyes, her rolling fields of green, and as sure as I'm alive, 'tis the loveliest there's ever been. Since I began on my journey, many years have come and gone. Across the road I have traveled, and I've seen many a dawn. Now the road that I've been walking has been filled with strife